Hey everybody, this is Hyperion here again. Sorry I haven't been bringing you any videos the last couple of days. I've actually had some computer issues and just got it sorted out the other day, so hopefully I'll be back bringing you some more videos. Um, anyways, today I'm not going to be bringing you a skill or a build guide like I have the last couple of days. Today what I'm actually going to be talking about is elemental damage increase and how important it is. So this guide's going to be a little bit more geared towards the newer players or people that are new to Diablo 3 or new to Reaper of Souls, or also just casual players that haven't really looked into this much or haven't really thought about it much. I've had a lot of the newer players in my clan or friends asking me about it, and when I look at people's gear, a lot of times I don't see them implementing it, or if they are, I don't see them using it correctly. And I really want to talk about this because, in my opinion, this is one of the most important damage increases in the game that you can get. And if you're not using it, you're pretty much potentially losing up to 150% damage that you could be doing. That's pretty massive, especially considering that you can get up to, 1 to 1.5 million damage without it. And if you double that, you're up to at 3 to 4 million damage that you're not using. Now, this elemental damage that I'm talking about, it's not going to show up here at all. So this is not going to be something you want to pay attention to when you're thinking about elemental damage. Um, and the way it used to work in Diablo 3, vanilla release, I mean, if you played it or if you haven't, the way it worked before was you wanted to get as much sheet damage as you could get, which you did by stacking average damage, attack speed, critical hit chance, critical hit damage. You get those as high as you can, and that's going to max out your damage right here. Anyways, that's not quite how it works anymore. Like with this ring, for example, it says that it's going to give me 13.5% damage increase over my Stone of Jordan. But I happen to know that it's actually not true. This ring would in fact drop my effective damage by about 30%, which is quite a lot. Um, if you don't know, a Stone of Jordan is actually the best ring in the game. It doesn't matter how amazing any other ring rolls, your Stone of Jordan is going to be better, even if the Stone of Jordan rolls badly. It's that powerful of ring, and it's powerful because of the elemental damage increase and the increased damage against elites. And increased damage against elites I'll get to a little bit later, but it's very similar to the elemental, the elemental damage increase. Anyways, so if you look here, my bracers here have this affix: lightning skills deal 20% more damage. And exactly how this lightning skills deal 20% more damage affix works is if you look at my actual skills, you'll see I'm using Deadly Reach with Scattered Blows, and underneath that it says Lightning. The same with Lashing Tail Kick, Scorpion Sting, it says Lightning. I can switch it to something like Vulture Claw Kick, Sweeping Armada, Spinning Flame Kick, Hand of Ytar, but those are all the wrong elements. Vulture Claw Kick is fire, Sweeping Armada is physical, Spinning Flame Kick is fire, Hand of Ytar is cold. So with that affix that you saw in my bracers, that lightning skill, it's only going to be increasing the damage of the lightning tail of the scorpion sting ruin. The fire ruins and cold ruins are not. It's not going to be affected by. So if I use one of those ruins, it's going to drop the damage of flashing tail kick by 20%, which is quite a lot. But this affix, the lightning skills deal 20% more damage, or elemental skills in general, starts becoming really powerful when you can stack a lot of it. And if you look here, it says lightning damage increased by 138%. That's pretty impressive. And if you saw underneath, it said that green tab, it says increased damage dealt by skills using this element. Lightning damage, this is my lightning damage, is 2.5 million. So this is where it actually shows you your your lightning damage. It's 2.5 million. My sheet damage is just 1 million, but my lightning damage is 2.5 million. You see that's that's increased just having this lightning increase here. It's more than doubled my actual damage output. And that's what's so powerful about it. So you people that aren't using it, you really need to start using it because you're missing out on massive amounts of damage. So where can you get that lightning damage increase or that elemental skill damage increase? There's a lot of gear pieces that can give it to you, and it all depends on the element damage type. So I'm using lightning. Um, I can get it on my bracers, and in fact, on bracers you can get any elemental damage type. You know, whether it's fire, cold, physical, poison, arcane, any of them. Bracers can roll with it. The same with an amulet; they can roll any damage type. So, but then the other, and also Stone of Jordan can roll any damage types as well. The other areas, though, it's all going to depend, or the other items, it's going to depend on what element you're going for. So I'm using a Spirit Stone, the Eye of the Storm, and this can roll up to 30% lightning damage. That's the only helmet in the game that's going to roll lightning damage, and it's the only one that can roll that high of lightning damage, or of an elemental damage in particular. Um, let's see. I'm using a Wan Kim Lao. This will give you, I think, from 15 to 25% lightning skill damage. Again, this is it's a fist weapon, and it's actually the only weapon that's going to give you up to 25% lightning damage. And then I'm using a belt, the Thunder God's Vigor. It gives me 15% more lightning damage. It's the only belt in the game that actually has elemental damage on it. And then the 4-set bonus to the Raiment of 1,000 Storms is 15% more lightning damage. So that's how I'm all the way up at 138%. Now, what I was saying is the items you're going to want is really going to depend on what type of elemental damage you're going for. So, for example, other lightning options, if I wanted, I could use this, the Odin's Sun, and you can see it says lightning skills deal 20% more damage. I believe that's 15 to 20%. I happen to get a fairly good roll on that. There's Utar's Roar, which gives you 15 to 20% cold damage. This item is actually craftable. So if you're actually making a character or wanting to gear with cold damage, you can actually craft that, which is really fantastic. There's also, I should point out, there's a mace called the Devastator that is craftable as well for fire damage. So for those of you who are wanting to go with a fire build, Devastator is a great option for crafting. Then you've got like the Doombringer, which will give you 15 to 20% physical damage. You've got the Azurath, which gives you 15 to 20% cold damage. But these are all weapons. There are other items. Like, for example, there are Mage Fists. They're legendary gloves that give you 15 to 20% fire damage. There's a Cinder Coat, which gives you 15 to 20% fire damage, and it reduces the resource cost of all your fire skills by, I believe, 20 to 30%, which is pretty amazing. There's Swampland Waders, which give you 15 to 20% poison damage. So you just have to hunt around for those items that are going to give you your particular damage increase, and stack as many as you can get. So if you're going for a specific elemental type, I'd hit the Diablo 3 forums or the item guides and look for those items that are going to give you your specific elemental damage increase. The other thing I also wanted to talk about, which is really important if you can get, is increased damage against elites. And what that's going to do is no matter what skill you're going to using, no matter what skill you're using, it's just going to be a flat increased damage against elites. And that stacks with elemental damage. So that's a really great affix to get. You can get it on, like the Sunkeeper is a really good item for that. And it's actually a very, very powerful mace if you can get one. Um, really fantastic. Um, there is also the Stone of Jordan, will give you 25 to 30%. And then a few other items will, but the only other main item that's going to give that to you is the Augild's 3 set. And technically, if you've got a Ring of Royal Grandeur, you can go for the 2 set and get the 3 set bonus. And that increases damage against elites by 15%. But also, what's so powerful about the Augild set is the damage reduction that you can get from it. So, if you don't have that and you can fit it in, really recommend crafting the Augild set. That's kind of a little bit off topic, but you can get some elite damage from there. And if you look here, I've got 29%. That just comes from my Stone of Jordan only, because I don't have enough room to fit the full Augild set in. But back, what I'm talking about with the damage is if you stack my flat damage, my lightning damage, and my elemental damage, I'm going to be doing about 3.2 million damage against elites. So you see how powerful that is in combination. If I just stacked just straight sheet DPS to get this number as high as I can, I might be able to hit like 1.5 million effectively, maybe like 1.7 if I really get good gear. And that's going to be it. Without that elemental damage increase, you're not going to be doing any more than that. But just by stacking as much as I could get of that lightning damage and the elite damage, I can get my damage all the way up to 3.2 million. So I hope I've kind of stressed that enough. If you don't have elemental damage, if you're not using it, or if you're not stacking one specific elemental type, you need to do that. It's going to really increase your damage. I can't emphasize enough the need to do that. Like I said, this video is more, oriented towards the newer players or casual players. So for you more veterans that are out there, this is probably not going to be super helpful, but you never know. I kind of don't really want to stretch the video out too long by giving you an actual demonstration of the damage differences. Just to give you some brief numbers, though, with my lightning damage and the elite damage, I'll crit from about 25 to 35 million with lashing tail kick here, which is pretty good. That's fairly decent. And if I switch to something like a fire ruin, I'll be critting for like maybe 5 to 7 million. So you see that difference there? 5 to 7 million, say 7 million, maybe 10 million tops. Maybe, that'd be pushing it with some good damage buffs up. 10 million up to 35 million. That's a lot of difference that you're going to be making there. I could actually take you out and show you the numbers, but it'd make it kind of a bit long. But that's just from playing, and I know what the exact numbers are. So 10 million to 35 million, that's a huge damage increase. If you don't have the elemental damage, start gearing for it now. If you're just starting, that's the best time to start gearing for the elemental damage. You can pick your elemental damage and gear around it. That's really what I want to do, what I'd recommend you doing. Another great thing to do is if you're just starting up a new class, or if you want to gear correctly, I'd go to your specific class's forums and look around at the builds that they're using. Because a lot of times there are different playstyle and different builds for different elements. So like for example, if you look here, there's only fire, physical, lightning, and cold. There is no holy damage. But if you look at Wave of Light, you've got holy mixed in there. So if you wanted to go with a holy monk, you wouldn't be using lashing tail kick. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to choose your elemental type or choose your build type, and then go out and work around that. So hit the forums, check for a fun build that you think is going to be fun, and then start getting the elemental damage you're going to want with that. And each class has different really popular elemental build types. Like for the monk, right now the most popular is a lightning or a fire monk. They're the most popular and then the most powerful and easy to gear. Like for a barbarian, pretty much it's just fire barb, or its kind of specialty is cold. For witch doctors, it's going to be mainly physical or fire are the most powerful witch doctors. Wizards, it's going to be fire or arcane. Crusaders, it's going to be holy or fire. Um, so you're going to want to choose like a certain elemental type and start gearing for it. Start collecting items that have elemental damage on them, like collecting amulets that have elemental damage on them, so that you can roll for a higher roll with that elemental damage on it. And to be honest, to tell you the truth, I would prefer using a rare amulet with elemental damage on it over a legendary amulet with perfect rolls without that. Because it's just a flat. With the rares, they can only roll 10 to 15 elemental damage, but that's still going to be a flat 10 to 15% damage increase over whatever you have. So even with bracers, I would go with rare bracers with elemental damage on them over legendary bracers like this, for example. With these, pretty much perfect rolls, 495 dexterity, 100 all resist, 6 critical hit chance. That looks phenomenal, but I would take rare bracers with elemental damage on it over those any day. So that's just kind of an emphasis on how important it is. Anyways, not going to take up any more of your time. I hope you enjoyed the video. I really hope you find it helpful and implement it. If you like my videos and like what I'm doing, please subscribe. Leave any comments or questions below, and I'll try and get back to you guys. Thanks for watching.